So, like, the way we've treated the mentally ill over the years is changed. It's changed for the worse in some ways. It originally in like the 1800s, everybody was housed together: women, children, mentally ill. Everybody was housed in the same building. Now we have different buildings for the women, different buildings for mentally ill. Well, not so much the mentally ill anymore. They put all the mentally ill in hospitals in the late 1800s instead of having them incarcerated, and they thought that was going to be a better problem,
so they
a better
do their
solution.
Torture tools on them there.
Yeah, and then they're working on all that experimental medicine, like the shock therapies and giving people lobotomies and stuff like that. And the way that we've treated the mentally ill throughout the years is just it's definitely sucked.
Yeah.
If you look at the conditions for, like, if you go into a prison or if you've ever been in prison and you look at, like, the medical housing units and stuff like that, where the people who have mental health issues are housed, those are usually the dirtiest areas in the prison because
no one wants to go in there.
Well, no, because everything in a jail is run by the inmates, especially, well, in our state, it's run by the inmates. The inmates do everything. They make the food, they make the clothes, they make
clean.
They teach the other inmates the lesson plans, and when they're going to school, they serve the food, they clean. So everything is taken care of by the inmates, and you don't have any inmates who
are capable
of doing the work. Those guards aren't doing not all. Most of the guards aren't doing it. They're just sitting around on their butts, babysitting, collecting a check. You have a few bleeding hearts that are guards that work in there, that do good things, that want to see people do better. But more often than not, you have people that are just sitting around getting a check.
They want to be dictators.
Or they want to be dictators, and they want to be wearing the pants for one.
But really, they're just a bunch of dictators. So
you can't even speculate on that.
I like that one.
So have you ever been in a turtle suit?
No.
So
Ryan, do you know what a turtle suit is?
You ever been in a turtle suit? All right, so let me break this down for y'all real quick, and for those that
have you been in the turtle suit, Nick?
I have.
Oh no,
I have.
Right.
Okay,
so
let's hear
I'm
this.
gonna break this down for our listeners and for y'all who have never had to experience this. So I went into a county facility once, and
Which
I had
county?
York County, okay, and I had overdosed prior in that month. Not that day that I went to jail, but it was earlier in that month, right? So when I'm doing my assessment, and I'm telling them I'm going to be going through withdrawal and all this stuff, right? And of course I bullshitted so I could get more meds. They asked me if I had ever overdosed because of my drug of choice, right? And I said, yeah, I had overdosed about 3 weeks ago, and they Narcaned me, brought me back, and I went on about my business. So because the overdose was less than 30 days old, they didn't know if I was suicidal or not, so they put me automatically into a turtle suit. And the turtle suit is where you strip down completely naked, socks, boxers, you have no clothes, and they give you this hospital gown that is weighted. It's like it's almost like the same material that they make the mattresses out of, right?
Like tissue paper?
But no. It's like
looks
vinyl.
like a Kevlar vest without
right.
the Kevlar.
It looks right.
Like if a Kevlar vest didn't have anything in it, that's what the turtle suit looks like, and it's bright green. No, they don't give you no underwear.
Sometimes they're black too. Sometimes they're black. But you get no clothes, you get no sheets, you get no pillows, you get no blankets. You get the turtle suit, and that is supposed to be your clothes, your pillow, your blanket, all in one shot, so you can't hang yourself or hurt yourself.
And they put you in a bubble.
And then they put you in the solitary cell, and you don't get any toilet paper a lot of times. Like if you gotta, like for me, I was going through withdrawal, so like I was pretty much shitting myself. I would have to bang on the door, and one of the guards that was on the block, they did 10-minute rounds, when he did his round, would bring me like a wad of toilet paper. So that's what it's like going into a turtle suit.
I was suicidal, and I went to the hospital. They never put me in there.
Well, this was in the jail. This was in the jail.
Yeah, so
yeah.
But
now they've grouped me in with these people that are suffering from some severe mental illness. So you're getting no sleep because you hear people screaming throughout the night. You hear the guards who probably shouldn't be guards and at least working on that unit at that time, right? Because they're like yelling back at these people and like banging on doors, and it was a madhouse. Like to say, for lack of a better term, it was a fucking madhouse, right? That's my experience with mental health, and what they did instead of like asking me questions like they should have about the overdose, what happened, how much did you do, was it on purpose? They didn't ask any of that. They just assumed right off the bat and threw me in this turtle suit, threw me in this cell by myself, and that was that. I didn't see it. That was on a Friday, so I didn't see the psychiatrist until Monday. So I had to spend the whole weekend in that turtle suit until I got to see the psychiatrist, right? And I told the psychiatrist, I sat down and told him what happened, and right away he wanted to put me on more medicine, right? He wanted to give me Neurontin, or gabapentin is what he wanted to give me.
Oh, that's the new drug deal of choice around here.
Right. So like I used, and I was like, okay, cool, sure. I know I can save those up over the week and then take them all at one shot, and I'll get pretty fucked up over the weekend, right?
It's not how it works, but
that's how it worked for me.
I think they consider those people like the mental health. They consider those people or us kind of people because I have the same problem. They consider us a problem.
Immediately from the door, and it's something that it just shouldn't be done. Yeah. We shouldn't be judging people on a million other people's actions. We should be judging people individually. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen.
And
like
what
that.
they're judging is, okay, this one's an asshole. And now, if you went in with cancer, they wouldn't be saying this one's an asshole,
right?
And mental illness is something that we had the debate about the addiction and the brain disease. Well, mental illness is. That brain disease, you didn't have to put a needle in your vein to get that brain disease.
Right.
It just randomly, takes whoever, runs in families so oftentimes. But there's no reason why you should be treated like a piece of shit because you have a disease.
Right.
But we do that.
We do.
We do that. We look at addicts like they're pieces of shit.
As
we look
society
at
as a whole.
like they're pieces of shit.
Right.
And when they start acting up and getting provoked, which society provokes them.
Just give them some more medicine.
Either
drug them up.
Absolutely.
Drug them up or lock them up.
Yeah.
Let's not take you off of one. Let's just add another one.
Well, now, and that's not 100% true everywhere either, because now you're starting to see, like we talked before about your program, the TCAP program, and how it merged with what was called drug court.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they also have mental health court. They've started doing that as well, where guys have mental health diagnoses, and instead of putting them directly in jail, they set them up with a CPS, and they set them up with a treatment team, and they do the same process as the drug court.
Do you know
team.
who does the intake for that?
No.
The district attorney's office. The district attorney's office determines who is eligible and appropriate for mental health court.
So a lawyer is making clinical decisions.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
I didn't say that there weren't flaws in the system. I was just saying that it existed.
In that county, that's a huge fucking flaw.
So I know York County. They were like one of the pioneering counties for the
mental health
courts.
court.
Right. So they actually have a drug court system, which is now referred to as recovery court. Now we're not actually. Drug court has been termed to be too much stigma attached to the word drug. So
I thought York County actually they changed it to opioid. Court.
They have a bunch of them. So they have recovery court, they have opioid court, they have DUI court, they have mental health court, and they have veterans court.
Now here's my question: why do they need a separate recovery court and opioid court?
Well, they had a DUI court as well, which was specifically geared to anybody with 3 or 4 DUIs. More or less your third DUI is what
third DUI, not fourth, because that's mandatory sentencing. There's nothing that they can do for that.
At least in Pennsylvania, there's some states that don't care about DUIs.
Right.
So they had the DUI court, and they I don't know what they did different. I don't know the specifications of the opioid court. So do they allow the MATs or do they not? Because I know recovery court or drug court, as it used to be called, did not allow any type of MAT other than Vivitrol.
Every state is different. So I happen to know some guys.
Every county is different.
Every state, every county is different.
Every county is different.
Because, I happen to know for a fact in Pennsylvania, at least in Northampton County's drug court, they don't give a shit what you're prescribed. You're going to take what they'll allow you to take. They don't care what your doctors have already prescribed you. They're going to send you to a new doctor.
Which is bullshit.
And they're going to make you take what that doctor says. Now, in New Jersey, in Warren and a couple other counties that I know people in that do drug court out there, they got medical marijuana cards and sit on their couch while their PO and the drug court team are there smoking weed, because in New Jersey, if you have a medical marijuana card, they can't tell you can't take medication that a doctor tells you to take. By their rules, it says federal law tells them that they can't tell you can't take a drug that was prescribed to you.
Well, federal law does say that. But the counties
don't
does it the
listen
way
all
they
the
want to
time.
do it.
Right.
Just like federal law says that they can't mandate you to do AA meetings.
Right. Because
They
it's
can mandate
considered a
you to
religious
do
organization.
recovery meetings,
Yes, but technically by
self-help support groups.
right, but technically by standard, what is believed to be religious gatherings, NA and AA are considered religious gatherings now, so they can't force you to do either of those because they can't force you into a religion.
Well, and think about it. If you're not Christian, the 12 steps don't really mean a whole lot of shit to you.
That's why I do smart recovery.
That comes down to perspective too, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm not a religious person, you know what I'm saying, and I don't call my higher power God, right? I believe in the powers of the universe. I believe in karma.
Mhm.
You know, it's just another term for. It's the same way the Buddhist monks. You know, the Buddhist monks don't believe in God per se, but they still pray every day.
Right.
So, but what they're praying to is to karma and the energies in the universe. So that comes down to a lot of perspective. People hear the word God and they just freak out. They're like, "Oh my God, I don't believe in God, so we're not going to do that."
Right.
And honestly, it's just another cop out and an excuse for them to not have to work
Most
on
of the time,
themselves.
that's what it is.
Right,
And you
but
know what?
there
There's
are-
a loophole in that law, and I'll tell you what it is, and because I used it all the time. Once you would commit, and I'd have you write on there which support group you affiliated with, and I gave everybody the option. I gave, well, they didn't have Refuge when I was in Northampton, but Smart Recovery, because I know I did a group on it where I brought in a whole bunch of different, women for sobriety and all these
Right.
different groups and everything. Once you commit to one, then it has to be that one. So, like, if you commit to NA, and you do, you definitely, it resonates with you, like,
Right.
that's your thing. Whereas it's not your thing, Tony. So, like,
I go
All
into
right,
an
NA
NA meeting and I come out wanting to use more than when I went in.
well, then when you get bombarded by the drug dealers, because they're hitting you up when you walk out, right? It's bullshit. But that's how you get around that rule.
Right.
Not that I'm
No,
trying
Ryan,
to-
Ryan, now have you ever
Trying
thought?
to-
What?
how I
Have you ever
cheated.
thought about doing because I know you're fresh into the mental health scene. Have you ever thought about like attending any like support groups or anything like that to give a different perspective to yourself? Because I know all this is new to you. So like, have you ever thought about
And
that?
if you do, I can tell you, Wednesday nights, the Bipolar Depression Support Alliance group is excellent.
I would love to go to a lot of groups, but my work schedule.
Oh, I know your work schedule is
Is-
crazy. But like,
Saturdays is my only day off.
gotcha. I mean, but
And you work overnights too, right?
Yeah, 6 to 8 a.m.
Yeah. So, but you've thought about it at least, like looked into.
Yeah,
things?
I've thought about it. I wanted to do continue to go to groups after my outpatient, and I haven't took any of my meds, and I didn't want to take them because they made me feel not myself,
Gotcha.
and I didn't want to have something making me feel not myself. Like I want to feel myself. Maybe in the beginning it wasn't good, but now that I'm in a better place, I think I'm good without them. But I would still go to groups.
I mean,
So there's also
love
alternatives
to.
to stuff like that. There's a lot of like online forum discussions, open chat rooms, and I don't know if there's mental health related stuff on the intherooms.com. I know that's more 12-step related than anything, but I can't imagine that there's not some sort of
No, but there's an app, actually, I use it, it's online support. I mean,
Is there like any like groups like around here, like any something that maybe,
Wednesday
like,
nights, there's the Bipolar and Depression Alliance.
I'll have to look.
It's on Tillman Street, Tillman and Cedar Crest. There's a church there, and I've been to that. It's a 2-hour meeting, which I usually get there late because I can't sit for 2 hours like all at once.
Yeah.
I don't even like going to the movies.
I know. I can't even sit through a movie, let alone sit
I don't
through.
even smoke anymore. And
I know
can't make it through a
there's
movie.
definitely like grief groups out there. There's
are grief
trauma
groups
informed
out there.
groups.
I can get that information.
We can
for
definitely
you.
get-
Yeah, I would like to. I would like to go to something, just to keep it fresh, and I can always learn new things and
Absolutely,
learn
you can.
by other people's experiences as well.
There's actually a new group starting in Easton in February. It's Suicide Survivors Support Group.
Like people who have attempted.
Yeah.
Oh
That's-
wow.
Yeah, that's starting to change on. That'll be a change on 3rd and Easton in February, and
That's really cool that they're starting stuff up